place that is haunted. Right from the start, dear, built on an acre of sand.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Zada.
And I'm Kelly. And you're listening to
Two Sides and the Truth. Glad to have everybody back. Got a lot of things to talk about today. The first one is I had a situation yesterday that was about the craziest thing and I've put nothing on Facebook about it, believe it or not.
That's shocking.
I know. But there was too much to put in a post. I would have had to write a book. And so here it goes. I go for lunch yesterday. I go to Dairy Queen in Mansfield, Texas, and I'm going to get 3 tacos. I don't go very often to Dairy Queen, but
I can't say I've ever had a Dairy Queen taco.
That's always what I order at Dairy Queen.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to try this out.
They're good. And my mom always got them too. Like, this has been ongoing. And my whole life, I've been ordering 3 tacos from Dairy Queen. And so about once a month I get them, maybe twice a month I get them for lunch. And so yesterday I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. So I go. And the one in Mansfield's a little worn down. Like, I'm always a little weary going there. But, I'm a tried and true Dairy Queen girl. So I'm going to go. And I'm from a small town Dairy Queen that used to look like that. It's actually nicer now.
Gives them more flavor.
Yeah, I mean, probably.
They probably haven't changed their grease the whole time.
So the last time I went there, which was about 2-3 weeks ago, I waited for my order. I went, I did the drive-through, and they said wait out front, and we waited out front. I went inside, got my food because it was taking a minute, but it was ready like when I walked in. I got my food, and I noticed how rude the cook lady was to the little cashiers. Like, I don't remember what she said. This is like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it struck me how rude she was. Yeah. And I was just like, ugh, Mm-hmm. So I go back there yesterday for lunch, and I always assess it because if they get busy, they're really slow. So I always just kind of assess it and decide, do I have enough time?
Yeah.
I get an hour for lunch. And so I'm like, all right, so there's 2 vehicles, and one is pulling out from the window as soon as I pull up. So I was like, okay, it's only 1 car in front of me. The parking lot's not real busy. This should be fine. So I pull up, and I realize that the menu sign says it's broken. So you have to order at the window. And I was like, shoot, that's probably why it was so quick. I bet they're going to make them go around front. So sure enough, I pull up, right, that car moves immediately. So they just took their order. I pull up, I order the food, pay for the food. And then they don't tell me to pull up. And I'm thinking it's because I got tacos and they're probably faster. I don't know. But they don't tell me to pull up. So I wait there for 5 minutes. Then the girl opens the window and says, could you go ahead and pull up front? We're going to bring your food in a minute. I was like, okay, no problem. So I pull up front. I get up there. I assess the situation because I'm thinking I might have made a mistake going here. And there's the 2 cars that were ahead of me still waiting. And it's been about 5 minutes. So that's no big deal. And there is 2 construction worker guys inside. And there is, and then about 5 minutes after I got there, a little old man walked in to order his food. And then after me, another car came through and parked next to me. So I wait and I wait and I wait. And, I know it takes time sometimes. I know some places are slow. I'm just going to trust the process. And so usually what I do is I just kind of keep an eye on who's coming in and out. And that way I'll know if they skip me or I need to be concerned.
Yeah.
So I watched the 2 cars ahead of me go. And I'm not kidding when it's like 10 minutes between each order that they've picked it up. So at 23 minutes, I'm like, and I know because it's on my receipt. That's how I looked because I was like, am I overreacting or has this been a long time? I've gone through a whole series on TikTok on my phone. Okay. So I look, and sure enough, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll give them till 25 minutes. That's a long time though. But those 2 cars are gone. So I'm thinking I'm next.
You should be coming up.
Yeah, I should be coming up. But at 25 minutes, I got to go in there because it's a 10-minute drive back to work. I want at least 5 minutes to eat. I'm running out of time. So 25 minutes, the food's still not there. I go inside. I'm like, hey, what's up with the tacos? And the girl goes, oh, she just started making them right now, and it'll be ready any second. I was like, all right. It does not take long to make 3 tacos.
No.
And these aren't like the deep fried kind. These are like regular crunchy white people tacos.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, okay, so I wait there, no big deal. And I don't say, it's been 25 minutes. Nothing. I'm just
You're
like,
just checking.
I'm like, yeah, I just want to make sure I didn't get skipped or something happened. Because that's happened to me places before.
Yeah.
So I'm watching a lady making it, and the whole time she's making it, she's stopping what she's doing and like looking out the little window and looking out the side the window into the cashier area. And because her cashiers are doing stuff. They're stocking stuff. They're staying busy. They don't have any customers. And so she's kind of like telling them what to do. instead of making my food that I've now waited 25 minutes for. Like she's kind of trying to.
She's micromanaging.
She's micromanaging them as they're doing time filling duties, basically. And so I'm like, okay, come on. I'm still not going to say anything because I'm not a Karen. So I'm just like, all right, come on. Can you just make my damn tacos? So finally she finishes the tacos. They give them to me. I don't say a word. I don't say anything like this took forever. Nothing. I was like, okay, thank you. And I go to leave. I go out to my car. I'm going to eat them right there. And then I'm going to leave for work because I'm just like, I got to eat them quick. I open them up and there's no cheese on it. And they usually have diced tomatoes. I mean, like I've literally ordered these tacos my entire life. Instead they have a hamburger tomato, like, where you slice a tomato for a hamburger, and they've just folded it in half and shoved it in the taco. And I was like, what the hell is this? So I was like, I'm just going to go get some cheese. Like, I'm still not going to complain. I'm just going to ask for a side of cheese. Like, I'm hungry.
I want some cheese with my tacos, man.
And so I went inside and I just have the little box open and I'm like, hey, there's not any cheese on these tacos. And before I can even say, can I just get a side of cheese? Because I'm not giving them back to the lady that gets sidetracked.
Yeah.
Just
give me some cheese.
Right.
We're
Before
good.
I can say it, at this point, well, I take that back. I walk in and the old man is pissed.
Uh-oh.
And he's now saying, I've been waiting on this food for 20 minutes. This is way too long. Da-da-da-da. I cannot believe it's not ready yet. What are you doing? Like, he's upset. But he's not raising his voice. He's not being disrespectful. He just does not understand what the hell's going on. And that's what he had to say. And he asked for his money back. And they were the boy cashier went over, started giving him his money back. And so I'm like, so I walk in right as this is going on. So I have to wait for him to finish to ask for my cheese. So I'm like, hey, there's not any cheese on this taco. And then she pops off at me, the lady who turns out to be the general manager.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
To give you a view of what she looks like she just left her house in the trailer park. And she's driving a 1984 Lincoln Continental, and the AC's out, so the windows are down. She's smoking her Marlboro Reds on her way to work at Dairy Queen. This is the best impression I can give you of this woman. Like that, she looks like she's talking with a whiskey voice, which she was. Not that I'm judging. I have a little one myself, but so she goes.
I like how you said, not that I'm judging, when that whole sentence was a judgment.
Well, I'm giving an impression of what she looks like. She's stereotypically looking like that. I'm not saying everybody looks like that. I lived in a trailer park as a child for a while. I'm saying this particular lady looks like the stereotype. And so she goes, so she immediately starts yelling at me. Like, she was like, not yelling, but raising her voice. She goes, I'm sorry, I guess I forgot it.
Yeah, I guess you did.
And I'm like, now I'm upset because I have let everything go. I have.
Yeah, you were trying to be super cool cucumber.
Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, you did. You did forget it. And you're right. So I would like to get a side of, and again, she goes, yeah, I forgot it. It's real busy. And I'm like, okay, yeah, well, it's not real busy. I've been sitting out here for 30 minutes watching, and there's only been 5 customers total, including the man that came in after me.
Yeah, go tell Chick-fil-A you're busy.
Yeah. I was like, so no, it's not been real busy. I was like, it's been 30 minutes. So I waited 30 minutes for tacos that look like this, missing cheese and hamburger tomatoes in them. And you're raising your voice at me. And I'm still calm because I'm kind of like shocked and like, I don't know what the hell just happened. And so the 2 employees are in front of her facing me. She's back by like the window, the drive-thru window. And they are mouthing without saying it. We're so sorry. We're so sorry. Like they know what's about to happen. This has clearly happened before.
Oh yeah.
So I looked at her and I was like, I don't want cheese anymore. I want my money back. Like I don't want anything to have to do with you. Like your attitude is horrible.
Yeah, I don't want that cheese.
Just give me my money back. And the little girl that's trying to help me was like, well, I'm going to need your card for that because my card's out in the truck. So I was like, okay. And I'm going to go get my card. She's like, no, you just get out. Give her cash. Just get out. And she is screaming at the top of her lungs.
Oh, my gosh.
And she's also jumping, clutching her fist, and like screaming at me like a child's having a meltdown. Just get out. Get out at the top of her lungs.
Oh my God.
And I am still not raising my voice. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, what is going on?
Do you need help?
And I was
blink
like,
twice if you're in danger.
I was like, you are out of control. And if you were to just stop and listen to your customer, then you could fix the problem, never be happy. I only was going to say, can I have a cup of cheese?
Yeah.
Well, but for me to get out that much, I was saying that as she's screaming and yelling because she never stopped.
Oh,
she
my
kept
goodness.
screaming, yelling. And so then I start to leave. They give me my cash back and I start to leave. And I turn around at the door and I say to the two cashiers, I was like, y'all need to call your moms and get picked up. This is an unsafe working environment. This woman is insane. And this is not how you talk to people or you treat people. And you need to work somewhere where you're treated better.
Yeah.
Because they were very young. And she was like, get out, get out. And then she runs from behind the counter, runs up on me.
No,
and
she didn't.
And touched me, stuck her chest into me, like chest bumped me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
Did they have cameras there?
I pray. I did call and complain,
Oh
but you know,
my
they're owned
God.
individually. I called their corporate, but their corporate then calls the owner.
Yeah. Well, the owner definitely needs to know what's happening.
And
when he's
first, they
not
tried to
there.
redirect me to the branch or the location to talk to the
Yeah.
general manager.
No, don't want to talk to her.
And so
Remember me?
yeah. So then she's like, and then she didn't like hit me hard or anything. She just was like
She's
trying
just bumping
to
you out. She's trying to.
intimidate me.
She's
I
trying to
don't know.
like what is it, like the people that are at the door, the bouncers? Like,
Yes,
she's trying to bounce you out.
So at this point, I am now had enough. And I was like, listen, and she's older. I'm going to guess I don't know how old she is because she looks so rough that I was guessing 61 in a hard life.
Yeah.
But it likely could have been 50 in a hard life. Like,
yeah,
she was
just a
rough.
real hard life.
But the reason I bring up her age is it's a felony to hit an old bitch.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to hit her. And I said to her, I was like, listen,
Let's stay out of
I
prison,
raised
please.
my voice and I was like, listen, if you want to go, let's go. But you go first so I don't catch a felony. Let's go. Let's go right now. If you want to treat someone like, let's go. Let's do this. And let's pray there's cameras. Let's go. And she was like, get out, get out, get out, get out. I was like, you don't come and chest bump someone and expect nothing.
Exactly right.
I said, let's fucking go. Let's go.
Not one
Put
of
your
these
money
little
where your mouth is.
Teenage cashiers, you think you can just boss around? I can't believe. Like, can you imagine what she's probably doing to them if that's how she's treating customers?
That was my thought.
Like-
That was my thought. And that's why they were working busy like they were. And they were, you could tell.
Yeah.
Oh, is that coming? Is it ringing on the thing?
No, but I was just thinking it might.
I think because
We got a call coming in, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot. I forgot to unhook the Bluetooth.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was going to start.
Yeah, I know. I was like, don't do it.
I don't know if that's your ringtone, but that's the one I gave you.
I'll go with it. Anyway, so I believe I called her a bitch or a pussy at this point. I mean, obviously,
bitch.
I basically was like, yeah, you're a pussy. You say you like to act all tough till I tell you let's go.
Yeah.
All right, pussy,
that's
let's
usually
go.
the way it is.
Anyway, so I left.
It's like a little chihuahua.
Yeah. So I left and I called their corporate and talked to them. And the lady was like, what? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I want to talk to the owner. Like, I want him to call me. I'm going to tell you, it has been about 30 hours since that happened and I have not gotten a phone call. If that was my business,
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
I'd be all over that.
That is, that's crazy.
I know.
I'm so glad I wasn't there because we would have both been in jail.
I'm working creatively on a Yelp review right now.
Oh, my God. That's good.
So I told Rick and he was like, and you didn't hit her? And you didn't hit her? Because you didn't hit her? And I was like,
so
babe, she
surprised.
was old. I didn't, she deserved it, but she was old. I don't want to catch a felony. And he was
Right.
like, okay. I was like, it'd be one thing. I was probably going to get arrested no matter what if I
Right.
hit her. So I didn't want it to be a felony. Come on.
I want to make sure I'm going to be able to bond out.
Yeah. That was Dairy Queen in Mansfield, Texas.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
What a way to start off the podcast.
I will not be going to Dairy Queen in Mansfield
No,
anymore.
I want to go.
Yeah, right? That's what Rick
We
said.
need to go.
I got back to work and my coworker, they were like, what's wrong? Because they could tell I was
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
livid at this
I'm
point.
sure.
And I told them what happened. They were like, what? And I was like, I'm not kidding. This is what just happened to me.
No.
And so they were
I
like,
just wanted some tacos.
and so they were like, well, I'm going to lunch and we get you something. I said, yeah, what are you getting? He was like, Dairy Queen. I was like, shut up. He went and got me Chick-fil-A. He said we needed some God's chicken after that.
Right.
So we did that. So that was my day yesterday. My other story was Rick, for the first time ever, probably, definitely ever in our relationship, did something romantic and he planned it.
Wow.
And I didn't know he did it. So, yeah. So this last weekend, he said to me, hey, you want to go do something. Like, you want to go, I would need to fill the feeders at the lease. You want to go with me to fill the feeders? And so I was like, yeah, when do you want to do that? And he was like, oh, it's Saturday. I was like, Melindy's party is Saturday night, and I'm thinking about going to Melindy's birthday party, you know? So I was like, if I can stay up that late, because, you know, it was 7:00 in Fort Worth. It was iffy for me.
Yeah, I know.
And so he was like, well, I was thinking we could go up on Friday night and stay at the cabin Friday night, and then get up early and go to the lease, and I could kill some pigs. And I was
so romantic.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Okay, yeah, we'll do that. But this is how he presented it. This is not actually what we did. Do those things, but that's not what he did. So I was like, okay. And so we get in the truck. He was like, what do you want to eat for dinner? And I was like, I don't know. Let's just stop at that Mexican restaurant we normally stop at on the way. And he says, I was like, not Storms, which I love Storms, but it's Friday night. Yeah. Let's have dinner. So he was like, okay. He goes, I don't know, something else. I said, well, maybe that German food place we always pass by that's never open will be open. We can go there. We had all this time. He was like, I don't know, because I don't know if I like German. I'm pretty hungry. I was like, all right. So I'm like, well, let's think of something. He was like, okay. So along the way, we both chime up with ideas, and his were bad, all bad, like he was doing it on purpose. So then we get there, and we get almost to Hamilton, which is kind of our last chance. There's one other place, otherwise, but we got there so early that we could have gone into San Saba and had dinner. Like, we could have gone to the cabin, dropped shit off, and gone. So I said, let's go to San Saba and eat. He was like, I was just thinking we could eat at the cabin. We could just grill a steak at the cabin. I was like, it's so expensive at this grocery store. You're going to be overpaying since we didn't come. He goes, oh, no, I already have it ready. I said, what? He has steak seasoned and ready and chilled in the cooler.
Wow.
And he has potato salad, and he has salad, and he has like
all your sides.
All my sides, which he's not a side person. So that is him thinking of me, because he will just make 3 meats and no side. And if there is a side, it's potatoes.
Yeah.
Every time. Yeah. So meat and potatoes. That's all he needs. And I mean, cliche as he can be.
Yeah.
So I was like, what? You want to? Okay. All right. Well, that sounds great. I love that idea way more. Let's do that. So we get to the cabin. It's 7:15-ish. And so the sun is still up. And so we're there with plenty of daylight, and we get to just enjoy a night, just the two of us without kids, hanging out at the cabin.
Nice.
We never do that. I go with y'all all the time, but I don't go with him very often. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we did. We just grilled, and he shot his gun and whatever. So then we get up the next morning and head to the deer lease. And so we get to the deer lease, and he wants to drive around and shoot pigs, which for those that aren't hunters, it has to be done because they will ruin your ranch. And so he's going around hunting pigs and kills a bunch of pigs and fills the feeders. And then he was like, all right, let's go swimming somewhere, which this is not something he had discussed, but I thought there was a good chance I was going to end up in water. So I had my bathing suit on underneath my dress, and he had his swim shorts with him. So he was like, let's go find some water. I was like, all right, where do you want to go swimming? So we got online and looked for, what swimming holes. And then I was like, because I know a lot of them, but I know a lot of them are low right now. So I was trying to see what my options were. Well, my family used to go to Castile, Texas, which is just outside of Llano, and it's about 40 minutes from the cabin. And we used to go there for a reunion, and it's just beautiful. It's on the Llano River, and the water's crystal clear, and it's just beautiful. And so we were like, let's just go to Castile. We love Castile. So we drove to Castile. When we got there, there was no one there. It was the middle of the day, and there was nobody there in this prime swimming location in Castile. So we got out, and we swam, and I found one rock. Like I literally went to get in the water, and I'm not even in the water yet. I always collect rocks. That's where I am in life. And I looked down, and there's a perfect heart-shaped rock.
Aww.
It's perfect. And I was like, oh, okay. So I stuck it in my bathing suit, like boob area, so I wouldn't lose it.
That's where you put all the good stuff.
That's exactly right. And then we swam, and we hiked up the river. We saw snakes. We saw lots of turtles. We saw lots of fish. It's beautiful up there. And then we swam back. And then we decided to see if there was another swimming hole. And so we start just driving down a road we've never been on, no map on, nothing, and just driving down this country road, like half the time it's dirt, and looking at these beautiful homes that are built on the Llano River. And as we got further down, about 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes into the drive, we realized that more and more are looking like Airbnbs. So I was like, this must be a good part of the river, like to access. Like this looks like Airbnbs.
Yeah.
And so he was like, yeah, let's try to see where there's a crossover. You know, there's going to be a bridge soon. So he looks for it, and sure enough, we find this bridge. And it's got this badass swimming hole, and it's full of people. I never knew this place existed. He told me that y'all can't go. I can't take y'all till I take him. Because we didn't get out. It was so packed. And by that point, we're hungry for lunch.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, cool. We found a place. So then we drove into Llano, and then we drove to Bend, Texas, Bend, Texas, which is where one of the other ranches are. And I have cousins that have ranches there. The ranch we went to, or the house that we went to that had the bridge thing that you walk across over the little pond and the, you know. So we're out there, and there's this really cool cafe that I've talked about on here before where I saw Ray Riley Hubbard show randomly. I went to get a hamburger, and Ray Riley Hubbard was playing. So we went there and had lunch and had a great lunch. And then we're like, okay, I guess we're going to head back. And we headed back, and we were home by 5, and we slept from 5 p.m. until 5 a.m., maybe even later. I mean, we were exhausted with the heat. And, you know, we packed so much into that 24 hours. But on top of, like, literally, we left at 4 o'clock on Friday, and we were home by 5 o'clock on Saturday. And in between that time, we drove to the cabin, grilled, shotguns, you know, went to bed, got up in the morning, went hunting, you know, went, checked on the feeders, went swimming Castile. I mean, we went and did everything.
Yeah.
Went to one of our favorite places to eat.
Yeah,
and then
the
made it
whole
back
weekend in one day.
in one day. Because we were originally thinking we were going to do this over the whole weekend. But we were so tired, we were ready to go home. But
Y'all went too hard, man.
But the fact that he went out and he bought steaks and seasoned them and did all these things, this is so out of his character. He's not a planner. He doesn't like to plan. If he does plan, he doesn't want to tell you about it. Because I don't, and Zaylee and I need plans.
I just love that he let you like try to decide where y'all were going to eat the entire way down there.
Yes. Yes.
When that wasn't even what y'all were going to do.
No, he was just fucking with me. So anyways, that was about the sweetest thing he's ever done. I realize that that's maybe not on other people's rate of sweet, but it was so out of character for him, and he did it really just for me.
That's awesome.
So
That's
it was a nice. We had a good little weekend.
I had a very pretty uneventful because I didn't plan anything for this weekend because the past 2 weekends I've been out of town. So my sister had invited me to go to Greenville to see my parents, and she was going to take her son and her daughter to go to this little water park. And part of me was like, yes, I want to go because you know me, anything that has to do with water, I want to be involved. But I was like, I really just don't feel like driving, being in the car, and then doing I don't know.
You've had enough of it.
So I was like, no, I'm just going to pass. Well, I'm glad I did, though, because Dante took his daughter school clothes shopping on Saturday. And so I was really happy I got to be a part of that because there's not a lot of things that we do together. She's a teenager. We do some things together, but, you know, she's a teenager. She wants to do her own things with her friends and whatever. But I went with them to go shopping, and we had a lot of fun. But it was really funny because we're on the way. So we picked her up in Waxahachie, and then we were going to Cedar Hill to the outdoor mall. And we're almost to Cedar Hill, and he does this checking his pockets thing. He did cause he does it a lot of times. Like if he's like making sure he has his phone, but he was like, he looked over at me, and I just knew he forgot his wallet. He didn't have his wallet. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I just shook my head. But then,
because that's a good hour drive.
In my purse, like I had switched purses though, like in the last minute, because I was like, I'm not going to need my cards or anything because he doesn't ever let me pay for anything when we're together. So, but at the last minute, I went ahead and put the cards because I have my card and then I have a credit card that he gave me. So I have one of his credit cards. And so I looked in my purse. I was like, I think I did put him in there. And I like picked up his credit card and I was like, it's okay, babe. It's on me this time. And he was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy you have that card. I was like, I know. So he told Peyton, he's like, Peyton, I don't have my wallet. We got it all the way here. I don't have my wallet. She's like, He's like, nah, I'm sorry. We're going to have to wait till tomorrow and come back tomorrow. She's like, man. And she's like, it's okay. It's going to be on Kelly. Kelly said it's going to be on her. So she's like, just let her believe that I was paying for everything.
These men.
But it was his card. And I was like, hey, I'm going to need that card back when you get done with it.
I'm just loaning it to you. Loaning it. That's funny.
Yeah, but we had fun, and I did the whole time. Like he was telling me to get stuff, and I would, but I really wasn't finding anything that I liked, and so he's like, "Babe, why are you not getting anything? I'm sitting here telling you to get anything, and you're not getting anything."
Right.
I was like, "Well, I'm sorry. I'm not just going to spend your money on random stuff that I'm not even going to want."
Yeah.
You know,
You use your money for that.
that's me. Like I love thrift store shopping. It is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I love thrifting. Nothing else is like thrifting because there's such a variety of things and the random things you're going to find. I'm just so used to that. When I go to stores now and I'm looking at things and I'm like, I don't want to pay $50 for a shirt.
Well, my thought is I don't like looking like everybody else. either.
True. I'm like, I don't want to look through a whole rack of the same things and find my size and like, I'm
Right.
the same way. Like I don't find any. It's just not me. And I do not believe in paying twice or 3 times the amount something is worth just to have a little logo on it. I think that's
Right.
the stupidest thing in the world.
I
I'm sorry.
don't know that logos are a big deal anymore. Like when I was growing up, it was everything.
But
I'm sure it is for some people.
It is, and especially like teenagers, they want logos on things. And I'm like, I understand because you're young, and that's where your mindset is, and how expensive something is. That is what that's what gives you the status of it. It could look like crap. You could not even care what it looks like. It just needs to be that brand,
Right.
and that gives. And so I get it, but I just
Madison went through
I'm so
that where
glad
she
I'm out of
had to
that.
have an iPhone. She had to have an iPhone. Her dad kept buying her Androids, and she was like, "I want an iPhone. You're too cheap to buy me an iPhone." But Rick doesn't care about phones. He had a flip phone for years.
Amen.
And honestly, the only reason he gave up his flip phone was because he couldn't get one again where he gets them, and that's where his phone plan is, and he
Yeah.
broke his. So he doesn't really care about phones, so he doesn't understand her caring about it, but he does understand. So he finally got her an iPhone like a few years ago. She hated it. She immediately went back to Android.
I don't understand why people are always hating. Well, like it's a device. You should be able
Yeah.
to choose it. It shouldn't have any kind of
Right.
stigmas.
My only judgment is I'm a little judgy when you have this ridiculous phone and you never can afford your bills,
No, that's
or you know.
Well, that's what people get into. They get this thought in their head that they have to have this certain status of things.
Keeping up with the
and you're
Joneses.
trying to live on this level that A, you don't even need to because it's stupid, and B, you shouldn't be doing it because it's not good for your life. You need to put that money towards your family, or you need to put that towards savings, or you need to put it towards medical things. Like
investing in
there's
yourself.
so many other things that are so much more important than these brand name things.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a big brand. The only time I'm really about a brand name is if I have found that it was worth it. Like it's something, you pay a little bit more for certain things and you get a little bit better in those things. But I don't think it's usually the best name. It's just, that's like cast iron. You're going to spend more money on cast iron. It doesn't have to be a brand. It just cooks better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to spend more money on my than I am on a different pan.
I don't mind spending money on quality things.
Yeah.
But I don't
Yeah, that's probably more it.
I don't
the quality.
consider brand name things quality. Some are, and I
Yeah.
understand that you're wanting to buy this luxury brand because of the quality of it. Okay, well, but if that's what you're going at for, if you want to buy a jacket that costs double because it's going to last you longer, I understand that. But you just have to have the right mindset when you're going into it.
Yeah.
I believe.
I would agree.
But I'll take a $5 thrift store jacket any day.
I will send you a link to this chick that I started following on Instagram, and she's like Australian, and every day her husband videos her where he's dropping her off at the train station to go to work, and he gets her, she's jumping out of the car, and he'll say something cheeky and she'll say something funny and do a little funny pose, and she's just adorable. Like they never really show the husband. Every once in a while he'll pop in a video. It's usually just him recording her and him being adorable about her. And she dresses in things she's made or she's found and altered or whatever, and they're amazing. Every outfit is over the top. Like if you've, what is the movie? Not 16 Candles, the other Molly Ringwald movie, Pretty in Pink. Have you ever seen Pretty in Pink?
No.
Oh, you need to. It's a cult classic. So Pretty in Pink, Annie Hoffman, I think is her name. Anyways, the main girl works at a record store, and the owner of the record store is this cool older woman. Now I realize she was like 30. Like she's not really older. But she's like a cool older woman that she looks up to, and she's real funky and dresses fun, and all whatever. That's what this woman reminds me of. And anyone that most people have seen the movie that are my age, so they'll know exactly who I'm talking about. That's it. And I thought of you when I watched it. I was like, this is all Kelly. Everything is so over the top, but amazing. Like every outfit, I'm just like, I go for every day. She goes to work dressed like that. Oh, and they never say what she actually does for a living.
Yeah.
And so every day, whenever he lets her out, he will say, "Go be the best brain surgeon today, or you're going to be the best librarian that anyone ever saw today." And so every day he gives her a different.
It's like Barbie.
Go sell some houses. Yeah. And she wears pink every Wednesday. And so everybody's like, always know when it's Wednesday.
That's so funny.
It's really cute.
I love it.
Anyways, I'll send you a link to it. So we were going to talk about relationships. So
We had this on the list for last week, but we didn't get to it. But I think it is a good thing because this is a relationship podcast. Even though we don't like focus on relationships, we do like to talk about relationships and the different aspects of them. So what we were talking about is relationship must-haves. Now, be that what you will on how you decipher what a must-have is in a relationship. I think there's lots of them.
yeah,
But and that changes with every person because, like we have said before, like love languages are different for every single person. So, what would be some of your relationship must-haves? And it doesn't have to be in order. It doesn't have to like, oh, this is the most important one because it's hard to figure out what the most important. For me, the most important thing is communication, because if you cannot communicate with somebody in a good way, because people communicate differently. So if you have a different form of communication than the person that you're with, it's not saying that that's not going to work out, but it isn't going to work out if you don't figure out how they communicate. So communication, being on the same page, understanding where a person is coming from, understanding their wants and needs, it all boils down to communication.
Right.
And if you can't communicate how you need to be loved and how you need to be approached and how you need to be talked to or touched or anything, you're not going to get what you need out of the relationship.
right.
And it's one of the things that I constantly work on making better is how I communicate with my boyfriend or with my family or with my friends, because, I'm very sensitive when it comes to people getting in my bubble or touching me when I don't want to be touched, or not understanding when I need some time or some space. And that can really just like turn me off. And once you get on my bad side, it's really hard to get off my bad side.
Right. Yeah, you're there.
Because I will just walk away. I'm a walk awayer.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's a good thing, but it is. I can take it or leave it. It doesn't matter who you are.
Right.
My brain, I can cut you off because I have amnesia. So if I want you gone, you can be gone. And all the feelings that go with you, boom, gone, bye.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a great thing, but I mean, sometimes it can be, because I've had to cut some people out of my life, and it can be pretty easy for me to do, because it's like, boom, and I'll never think of you again.
Yeah.
So if you make me mad, or if you make me uncomfortable, and even if you didn't mean to, you can switch my brain over when it comes to you, and then it's like you're dead to me almost.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but that really is
that's
how
pretty
it is.
extreme, but
It's crazy. But I've forgot, like I said, I have forgotten people in my own family, not because I tried to or because I wanted to forget them, but my brain just did. If I don't see you regularly and talk to you regularly or be reminded of you, my brain will forget that you exist.
Yeah.
I will not think about you ever. I won't think to communicate with you.
Yeah.
And I have lost friends and things like that because they've just got, my brain's just like, bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that can happen.
As I get older, I forget people, but I think I just met so many people at this point. There's just no way to remember, because I used to be able to remember everybody. But I think with relationships, are what is important to me in a relationship, I guess, is to trust that I'm safe with them, and that they would not harm me, that they wouldn't harm my children. That's my big thing, is safety. When you have kids, that becomes a big part of it. But my other thing would be, I don't know if the spark is the right word for it, but a connection. I mean, Rick and I are so opposite in so many ways. So for us to work like we work, we have to have some connection. Like, there has to be something there. And there is. He's my person. I'm very connected to him. Does he drive me nuts? Yes. but I just feel like very connected to him and protective of him. And I think he's very protective of me. And I think that we come from such different worlds and different communication backgrounds, like how we communicate. We've kind of learned to meet in the middle. And so it's been a big step for like him moving in created communication skills that I didn't know we had. But it also made it where we worked through them. Like he showed a side to him that I didn't know he had, where he could work through things because he's very gruff and rah, rah, rah. And what I've learned, particularly in the last few months, is because like he listens when I talk to him. He doesn't always respond the way I want him to. He'll push back and he'll argue with me and say something stupid, but give him a day or two and then he's going to come back and you'll notice he's doing something different, saying something different. And I'll say something like, hey, thank you. Like I see, and he'll be like, no, you're right. I was thinking about what you said. You're right. That is a huge thing for someone to admit they made a mistake, but also to actually change some behaviors immediately, start changing behaviors. And with his daughter, the last few months, last year, she's been in college for a year now. And now that she's gone to college, she's been exposed to a new world as well. And so she's come into herself and she is very much more listening to other than what she was taught by her grandmother and by her dad. And she's a very good critical thinker. And so the other day, him and her, we always, every night at dinner when I'm making dinner, usually she comes from the gym straight over to eat. And she'll usually hang out with me for 20 or 30 minutes and then he'll join us because he's usually taking his after work nap. So he'll get up and join us. And listening to her talk, she sounds like me half the time. Like, and we've never been alike. Her and I have never had anything in common. We get along fine. But, we're not the same at all. And now we have the best, most engaging conversations. And so the other day I turned to Rick and I'm like, hey, your daughter is turning into me. Like, you hear her? She sounds just like me. He goes, yeah, I hear it. I said,
got it. I picked up on that.
Yeah. And he goes, yeah, you're rubbing off on her. And I was like, yeah, that's a good thing. You must like it because you have me around all the time. He goes, no. He goes, I'm real proud of her for thinking on her own. I'm real proud of her. So that's what I guess I don't know how else to put that in my relationship, but I really like the fact that he owns things that he would have sworn before he was right about. And now he'll own it and he'll work on it. And I don't know that I've ever been with anyone else that does that. Everybody's either in denial or they give you a fake, I'm going to work on it, but they don't ever actually work on it. I mean,
they just give you this kind of like
song and dance
answer to pacify you for a little while. And then,
right. And the fact that I see effort, I mean, we're always going to have some differences, but the fact that I consistently see him address his own behaviors. And it makes me want to address mine more too. Mm-hmm. Like I'm like, I could have been nicer. I could have done that, maybe this would be better. But, I guess that's my big thing is that being willing to listen and make a change.
That's good.
Because I think that's hard to do. It's hard for me to do too.
Oh yeah. I think it's hard for anybody to admit that they're wrong and not even that they're wrong, but just be open to seeing things from another person's perspective. Like maybe my way is not the only hard, fast way. Maybe it can be a different way.
Right.
Maybe I can be a little bit more flexible on what I'm believing.
Right. Yeah. So that's my takeaway from it.
I have another one so communication was my first, and my next one is security. And there's a couple of different aspects to security because I like security in the fact that I feel safe and secure in the relationship. Mm-hmm. Like you said, I like to be with somebody who I know can handle a situation. And they don't have to be this big, strong, macho man, but just they have a good head on their shoulders. They're a quick thinker. They're capable.
Yes.
They can work with their hands. They can fix some things that need to be fixed, or they can.
See, I'd put that under my turn on list.
Yeah, it's definitely.
If you're handy and you can fix
I love watching a man work with his hands. And there's nothing I like better. And it can be doing anything. He can 100%. Be cooking. He can be fixing cars. I love some mechanics, man. I date a lot of mechanics because I love watching guys work with their hand. But I just love a handy man.
It gives you security to see that they have the ability to provide, for their family, no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what. They're going to find a way.
And I really like Dante because Dante likes being a provider. I'm not a person who needs somebody to give me a credit card and spoil me. I don't need that.
Right.
I like it though. It's nice to have.
Right.
And I have a job. I'm not just sitting at home just eating bonbons, not doing anything.
Right.
I have a job. I pay for my things, but I like having somebody who makes plenty of money and wants to be a provider and wants to take responsibilities away from me
Right.
so that, to treat me, I like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can do this.
Well, I think
I like
that
the sugar daddy thing.
I think that comes with age too, because, I can remember being younger and I just didn't. My mom I've told you this. My mom's advice was it's just as easy to love a rich man as it is a poor one.
Yeah.
And a lot of people give me slack when I say that.
But it's true.
But it's true.
It's true.
Okay. And I learned that the hard way because I married a poor one and he got poorer. Like I continued to do very well financially in my job and I was making very good money by the time we divorced. And I was carrying all the weight and it was making me resentful because it never worked out for him.
Yeah.
And you start getting frustrated.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times he came home fired. I mean, when I say I can't tell you, I mean, past into the double digits. And I couldn't figure out why. He didn't have a drinking problem. He didn't have a drug problem or anything. And I, to this day, can't tell you why it happened. Y'all are going to hear kids. We're again recording.
We're still in our restaurant spot.
Yeah. And they're getting a little rowdy over there. But after living that and then becoming a single mom, and it was pretty difficult in the beginning, I was not any more broke. I just didn't have as much help.
Yeah.
So I was just as broke without my husband. I just didn't have any help with the kids, basically. That was harder. But then once I got on my feet, I was better off. And I have been better off since 2 years after the divorce, probably. And I got to the point I was very financially stable. But then to get with Rick, who's very financially stable and very responsible and good with his money and good with, takes care of things. It's so attractive to me.
Yeah.
It's so attractive. And, he's not the type that's like, here's some money. I mean, if I ask for it, I get it, but I don't ever ask. I make good money. I don't need to ask him for money. But if, he'll give me money randomly, like back to school, all those years we dated and back to school, he paid for my kids' back to school clothes half the time without me ever asking. He just wanted to take that load off me. Yeah, Christmas, he made sure my kids' Christmas was taken care of. I ran into some problems with money because of a car accident, and he floated me for 2 months, paid the bill, didn't get money, asked for money back, took care of all my bills for 2 months so I could get back on my feet. And we were just dating, like casually. At this point, maybe 3 years, like not.
Yeah, but he wanted to show you that he was going to give you that security.
Yes, and he's been consistent. And then when I worked at the bar, he got tired of me missing. When I worked at the bar, I worked Thursday nights, and then I worked either Friday or Saturday night. And then I had to work at my other job Friday or Saturday night. So I was working every single Thursday, Friday, Saturday night at one or the other job. And he missed me and wanted to see me more. So he was like, I will pay you not to work weekends. Whatever you make at the bar, I will pay you what you make if you will,
give me that
time.
See, I like that.
And he did, and he paid me for years not to work weekends.
That's so funny, but
Isn't that funny? But he did, and he had no problem with it. And I never had to ask him for the money either. I told him, I was like, if I ever have to ask you for it, I'm going to feel inconvenient. So you have to just give it to me. It's not a problem. And that was what he did the entire time.
That's so cool.
So to me, that is very attractive.
Yeah.
I get when you're young, that's hard to find something like that.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be the only part, obviously.
No, it shouldn't.
But
that's one of the things I do love about getting older and being in an older, mature relationship.
Right.
Because it's so much different from when I was dating in my 20s.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is when I met Rick, he made okay money. I don't know how much he made. He says he was broke. I don't know how much he made. But he always took me out and treated me well and spoiled me.
You never saw it.
I had no clue. But he also had zero credit. Like zero. And I met him when he was 32, like zero. And he just is old school, and you pay with cash, and you pay cash for your truck, and you pay cash for your stuff.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
See, I feel that I'm that way too. I have zero credit because I pay cash for everything.
Right.
I've never had a credit card in my life. The only credit card I've ever had is Dante's. I've been helping him out with his credit.
Yeah. Well, and so we had a talk a few years ago. Not a few. It was a long time. When we first started dating, we talked about it. And he goes, "I want to buy a house, and I want to buy land, and I want this, and I want this, and so I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to figure this out." And he did. He immediately fixed got credit. And now he has literally a perfect credit score. It's disgusting how great it is. Because he did this all on his own, and he taught himself how to do this.
Yeah.
But on top of that, because he just didn't come from that background, and so he also he said he thought anyone that had brick on their house, even an ounce of brick on their house, was rich. Like he just came from a different world.
Yeah.
And I was so sick of my brick house, and I wanted a 100-year-old wood house. Like we were polar opposite. I wanted to suffer a little more. So he fixed that and did all that kind of stuff. But on top of that, he got more responsible in all aspects and makes more money. And, he really pulled himself up by the bootstraps because he had legal problems in his 20s. He was out of control. He's a bad boy, all that fixed. He didn't have a driver's license for, I think, 15 years.
He's something else.
And wouldn't do it. And he finally went and did it. And so he's legal now. And he's totally like Mr. Up and Up perfect guy now. And it's so funny because when I met him, he was polar opposite.
Who are you?
Yeah, well, I tell you what.
Well, you've done wonders for the man. Good job.
He says that too. He was like, "You make me want to be a better man all the time." Yeah,
that's great.
He can secretly be sweet, y'all.
I know.
The other thing he did that I think is really funny is he taught himself how to play the stock market. And then he downloaded an app.
Wow.
And he buys and sells his own stocks now.
That's awesome. That's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming, did you?
No, not at all.
Nope. And he gave me money and told me how to invest in the stock market.
Have you been investing?
I did a little bit of
we're
it.
trying. You're dabbling in
I don't
it.
like to play it. It doesn't make me happy to play. It stresses me out. And so I was like, you just keep your money and you just give me whatever.
How about you invest my money for me?
Yeah, we'll just share whatever you get.
Yeah, there you go.
So, but he did try, and I was like, man, I really like it when someone tries to elevate people around them.
Yeah.
And I feel like he really tries to elevate me around him, and he's a good guy.
That's good.
He's a good fish.
The other part of the security, so there's obviously like financial security and relationship security, but also being secure in yourself. That is another big thing for me, because with insecurity, not that people can't have insecurities. I have insecurities. Everybody has insecurities, but not letting your insecurities run you and run your emotions in a relationship can be very difficult. And it is difficult for me because I come from relationships that 90% of them, probably like 95% of them, have ended in infidelity. I've been cheated on over and over and over and over and over and over and over. I think I probably had 2 boyfriends that didn't cheat on me.
That's crazy.
That's it. Every other person.
You know what that is your age, because of the internet.
Yeah.
I don't think it used to be that bad.
But it has been that way ever since my very first boyfriend I ever had, dated for him for 6 years. He cheated on me multiple times. Every single boyfriend, probably other than I think 2. And that's just me assuming that they didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not the reason that we broke up.
Right.
Okay. Every other one, we broke
never
up
caught him
because
doing
of
it.
infidelity. And I'm not the kind of person that really seeks it out. I really don't. Now, how have I gone through a phone before? Yes. I'm not going to say that I haven't. I have. But it's because I knew I needed to.
Your gut told you.
I wasn't just like, let me see what I can find.
Yeah.
I was going because I wanted the proof that I needed to then
Deal with
like,
it.
Look
To
at
forget
this.
them.
Yeah. Look at this.
Let amnesia do its
This is
job.
why I'm leaving. But I've had to make myself not let those insecurities ruin relationships and not carry over those insecurities, even though they are so engraved into me because it's what I've been given my entire life.
Right.
But I have to believe that someone can be true.
Yeah.
And so it's been very hard because you in the back of your mind, I still think I'm not good enough. I'm not going to be able to give him everything he wants. Men just can't be happy with one woman. They have to, like, even if they have something good at home, they're going to go, they want somebody to talk to on their phone.
Yeah.
They're going to look for all this stuff, whatever. So it's hard to not let those kind of thoughts rule you.
Right.
And you have to be able to be
I
secure
can't even
enough.
fathom Rick cheating. He doesn't.
I know,
talk.
but the thing is, I've told myself
He'd
that
have to
before.
talk to people.
I have been with men that I would think, oh, they would never.
And then they did.
And
Yeah.
then they did.
Isn't that crazy?
So I don't like thinking about it that way, though. And so I don't, when it comes to like Dante, I don't think about him that way. I don't ever even consider if
it's
he
not
would cheat
fair
on
to
me.
put somebody else's
No,
sins
it's really not.
on the person you're with now.
And so I have to, and he is so secure. And I have never been with a man who did not ask interrogating questions. Even when they're not trying to be mean, you get interrogative questions like, oh, well, where are you going? Well, who's going? Or when are y'all going to be back? Oh, well, this and that. Like, just question. You get those. I've been so used to interrogative questions from people who are insecure. And it's usually because they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing. Yeah. So they are.
Or it's happened to them. Sometimes it's because it's happened
one
to
or
them.
both, you know. But we're going on 4 years now of dating. That man has never asked me an interrogative question.
Yeah.
He never does. He will let me offer up information, and he'll ask me questions like to have a conversation. I'm like, oh yeah, do y'all had fun? Oh, well, what'd y'all do? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But not like, oh, well, who was there? Oh, well, who is this? Or how do you know them? Or he's never asked me about any person that I've dated before. He has met ex-boyfriends of mine, and he's never even asked a question. Oh, well, what happened between y'all? Or are y'all still friends? He does not care. He lets me live my life and do the things that I want to do. He is. I've never known somebody as secure as he is, because he does not interrogate. He doesn't get he doesn't get mad. He doesn't get jealous.
Yeah.
I had one of my ex-boyfriends go to my birthday dinner this past year. And he shook his hand and said hi. He's happy that I have people in my life that care about me.
Yeah.
He doesn't care who they are or why they're there.
That says a lot.
If he doesn't have a problem,
I was
with
there.
them,
I witnessed
it's fine.
it. It was not awkward at all.
That's what I'm saying.
He's
he
really
doesn't
cool.
get awkward, and he's not the kind like he's just going to deal with it and just like side eye. No, there's nothing mean or hateful about this man. There just isn't. And so he inspires me to be more like that.
Right.
So I never ask him interrogative questions. I never ask him anything about exes or anything like that. I let him handle his business, and I just take it. I take him for what he shows me that he is.
Yeah.
And so that has been really helpful. And he's really helped me grow in my own security and feeling like I am good enough and I deserve this.
Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't think that this is too good to be true. I should know that I deserve it to be this good.
Yeah, I agree. I love that he's so easygoing about stuff. Like Rick, to do with exes, as far as he's concerned, we were both virgins and never dated anyone before we met. And I always laugh and tease him about it. And I'm like, yeah, I was a virgin with 4 kids. Okay. And he was like, yeah. So the only thing I know about any of his previous relationships were told to me by his mom, trying to, make me unhappy, I think.
That's horrible.
But it's not going to work. I don't care. I'm like, she sounds cool. Sounds like she's a nice girl. I don't know what to tell you. Funny how that works out. So we'll go. That kind of plays with the next thing, like a 10-year plan. Do you have a 10-year plan?
I don't, and I
have
been. No, I really don't. Like I told you, it's hard for me to plan like 10 days ahead. Like once it gets to that far in my schedule, it gives me anxiety to try to plan anything out that far. So I usually don't. I hardly even plan 10 hours ahead. I'm just not.
Yeah, and I don't do like a technical 10-year plan. I have friends that have legit, we're going to buy this, we're going to retire this day, and that's awesome. My sister's a lot like that, and she's type A, and it works for her, and her husband, it works for him, so that's perfect. And they're very successful and, do very well. I'm not a good planner, so I have to have a goal in mind, or I'll just fly by the seat of my pants the rest of my life. And because I don't necessarily have amnesia, but I have no problem blocking something I don't want to deal with. I'll just compartmentalize that way back in my brain until it bites me in the ass. And that's just how I operate. So I'm not going to say I have a 10-year plan, but I am going to say I do have goals to acquire in the next 10 years. So whether it be being healthy, like right now, my big thing is getting to the bottom of the health issues I've been having. So be healthy and make good decisions for my body, which I don't always do. I need to work out more. There's things I should do better. Better eat. I need to eat more. Better food. But so health would be a 10-year plan for me. The other one was buying my own house, because right now I'm stuck in Waxahachie. Not that I don't want to be in Waxahachie. I love Waxahachie, but I want to be in the country.
Yeah.
But because I have my kids in the school district, I've just been teetered. Rick and I have talked about moving in together as soon as it was over. Well, he was stuck in Red Oak School District because his kid was in Red Oak. My kids were in Waxahachie. Now, neither of us wanted to uproot our kids. And so we didn't buy a house together, and we were just kind of stuck at buy. So I just rented to wait until we did something, or until I could buy. I want to buy a forever home.
Yes.
I don't want to keep moving. And so we're almost to the point that the kids are all out of the house, and we can go buy a forever home, and then we can do whatever we want to do with it, you know. And I want a little property. So that's really my biggest goal, is just to make my own. I want a garden. I want a property where I can have a garden.
My 10-year plan is my garden.
It really is. It's very simple. And
good.
some kind of water to get into, which Rick is not a big fan of, but I'm going to get my way.
When I remember that I not that it was a 10-year plan, but it was when I was younger, for some reason, and I don't know why it was this way, but I wanted to have everything that I wanted by the time I was 37. I don't know why that was the age in my head, but it was. For the longest time, that was part of like my, I'm going to say it because it's not my pen anymore, but I graduated in 07, and then my pen was 0737 because I graduated in 07 and I wanted everything. I wanted to be married, and I wanted to have,
right,
everything.
So you're giving yourself like 20 years.
So that was it. I don't know why I had focused on 37, but that was like my favorite number at the time. And, so now, obviously, I have been married before and got divorced, and I decided that
did not work out for you.
I don't want to get married. I don't want to feel like I have to be married. And it's so funny because I tell the kids that at the Boys and Girls Club, because we've talked about, they've asked me if I'm married, and I'm like, no. And they're like, do you have kids? I'm like, no. And that like blows their mind. I was like, y'all do realize that you don't have to do either of those things, right? Like you don't have to. You don't have to get married. You don't have to have kids. You don't have to get married to have kids. Like, none of those
when you were in high school,
yeah,
that's what you thought.
But I was growing up. I thought that once you get older and you find somebody and you get married and you have kids and you get a house and like that, you do that. It's like boom, boom, boom. You're supposed to check those things off the list. And I'm just like, you don't even have to have that list. You don't even have to do that list at all.
No,
like,
you do whatever you want
to.
Which is funny because most of my friends are like that, as you know, and they're all pretty happy and do the thing.
I'm so happy. And so I once I realized that I wasn't having kids, like that wasn't going to happen, that kind of freed up a lot of like things for me. Cause I'm like, I don't have to like have this like big grown up job and make all this money to support a family and to like, I don't have to do that. And I've been very much a gypsy spirit most of my life. I don't like owning things. That's why I don't have animals. I never wanted to own a home because I didn't want to be tied down to one
cactus was a big
place, right? So so I've never wanted to just like put roots down anywhere. That's not appealing.
So what about
me.
now? You don't have any, like now that you're with Dante? And
I still like, I want a future with Dante. Yeah. Like I don't want anything else. You're
just not planning what it looks like.
But I'm not planning anything out. Like I'm not planning our wedding. We're obviously he has his kids. We're not having kids together.
I'd be planning a garden because he has a great yard.
I can't garden. I can't keep a cactus alive.
So true.
Like,
You cannot.
Everything dies that I try to do.
It might not be a good idea. I don't know what to tell you about that.
I've even thought about like just getting like fake, you know how we can get fake plants?
Yes.
And just putting them outside.
My old neighbor used to do that. When I lived in Plano 25 years ago, I had a neighbor like 4 houses down, and they had all these fake flowers planted in their flower bed. Like,
that's what I need.
And I'm like, those are clearly fake, but they would change them out all the time too. So July 4th, red, white, and blue. And I don't mean a little. I mean the whole front of their house was fake flowers that they changed out through the seasons. So I was like, I don't know.
See, that's
isn't that weird?
I just want to get like bushes that are fake, and so I just have green bushes that never grow.
Yeah, that never grow. You could get AstroTurf as the yard, or you could do like they do in
Dante
Arizona.
Takes great care of the yard. Like he's awesome when it comes to the yard. But we do have this on half of the side of the house. We have where it's supposed to be for garden and stuff like that. But there's nothing there. I did try. I tried to plant stuff. I have tried. Yeah. I brought a tree home. I brought a tomato plant home one time and a watermelon plant home one time, and I brought some flowers. And it's just. No.
Something was growing where my acorn squash was going. I had a new thing growing, and I was all excited trying to figure out what it was. And Rick or Zoll, I don't know which one. One of them mowed it down.
Oh,
I'm gonna guess it's all. I think Rick would have known better, but it's gone. I was like, damn it, I'll never know.
I'll never know what you were.
There's a little bit of it left there, so I'm like, maybe it'll pop up, but I think that probably killed it. I don't know.
sad.
I know. I was like, what the hell? It was in the flower bed. How'd that even happen? I don't know. Anyway, so you got an email? You said you have an email?
We do have an email. Let me get to it. It's a short and sweet one, but hey, it's good too. I'm not going to be mad. You send me an email, I'm going to be happy and I'm going to read it. So it doesn't have a name either. It just says B and K. That is like, I have an email, but I'm not going to tell y'all their email. But it just says B and K. So B and K, thank you for the email. And it just says, OMG. Would so much want to hang out with you two at the cabin. Love your podcast.
Aw.
So they're in for the cabin weekend, apparently.
Apparently, yeah. I did have, I had somebody else message me and she was like, I live in Louisiana and I would totally do this. Like, I would come for this. And
Give me a weekend. We're doing it.
Like, too funny. Well, thank you. It is fun.
It is.
We've decided it's funner at the beginning of summer and the end of summer. It's just, in Texas, it's just gotten so freaking hot.
Yeah. Oh, and I was so excited. We didn't even realize when we were recording last week that we didn't remember that was our 50.
I know.
Until I didn't even think about it until Eric sent me back telling me that he had the podcast ready for me. And he was like, congratulations on y'all's 50th episode. And I was like, what?
Yes.
I was like, it is.
I realized it after we recorded it before he sent it, only because I looked at our Buzzsprout page at our statistics, and that's when it said it.
I hadn't even. I knew we were coming up on it, but I didn't put two and two together until he sent it to me, and I was like, "Oh,
yay,
sweet,
big 5-0, big 5-0." Well, thank you.
Yeah, so thanks everybody who is still here listening to us. 50 episodes in. Thank y'all so much.
Appreciate it, and I'm sure next week we'll have a lot to talk about because I am going to Galveston.
Oh, I'm so excited for you. I'm kind of a little jealous. You want to pack me?
You know, who was it? Someone said, I'm surprised Kelly didn't try to make you take her. And I was like, really? Oh, well, I've taken Zaylee and she's a lot.
Yeah. We don't need both of them, okay?
I mean, Zaylee needs a lot of attention. We're hoping it's a good bonding weekend. She's been a little rough around the edges lately. So
I'll say a prayer. I'll say a couple of prayers.
Yes, please do. And my goal, let's see if it happens, because it's hard to make it happen, but I'm going to try really hard to go to Mize, which is my absolute favorite restaurant. So any of the listeners that live in Houston, Mize, so good. It's in downtown Houston.
So good.
And I'm going to try my hardest to get in there.
What kind of food is it?
It's like Vietnamese fusion, like Vietnamese Thai, I think. And it is freaking the best food I've ever had in my life.
That's cool.
I'm not even kidding. Every time I go to Houston, I try to make it, but it's closed, I think, Monday, Tuesdays. And a lot of times we get there, we're seeing family, so they want us to go out to dinner with them, and it's nowhere near any of my family. Like, I have to drive to downtown.
So you really have to have some of your own time to do it.
But if Zoe and I go, we always make it happen because it's also her favorite place. So I was like, oh, we can do it on the way into town. And then Zaylee's like, no, we're going to eat dinner with my grandparents, my ex-husband's parents. You know, we're going to lunch with them, which is wonderful. I love them. But, I mean, they're not going to drop the mice. They're going to want Chewies.
Hey, I love me some Chewies too, though. But, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I got going on this weekend. So we'll have stuff to talk about next week.
Awesome.
And we'll see y'all then.
Yeah, so we want to drop your stuff. So
Zada Owens on Facebook and Z Mamacita on Instagram.
And I am Kelly Lady Pearl on Instagram. And if you'd like to email the podcast, because it's my favorite thing, it's 2 Sides in the Truth podcast at outlook.com. So, yeah.
Don't forget that podcast part.
Yeah, all together there because it will not be us if you don't put the podcast at the end.
I think it gives you a little thing saying not working. Oh. So, all right. So join us again next time. And thanks again for listening to
2 Sides in the Truth.
Bye, y'all.
Peace out, babe.